Welcome back to the Pylon Cam Podcast. If you are tuning in, you are a winner because only winners listen to this podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, you're also a winner because only winners watch this podcast. We got a cool episode today. So the first quarter of the season's over. We're going into week 5. We are 4.5 weeks in, so we are exactly at the halfway mark. And we got a bunch of stuff to talk about today. We are going to do a deep dive into how I think the divisions are going to finish at the end of the season, where I'm not going to go into record predictions because, I'll never be right about that. There's no way I'm right about that. So I'm just going to go with standings and which team I think will finish where. Then we're going to talk about, as always, the most telling matchups for the week, 2 a week, and then we are going to talk about, I forgot the last thing, so if you're listening, we have a surprise at the end for myself included. So, without further ado, let's get into it. We are going to do a divisional deep dive. I think that records at this point are still kind of whatever. There are definitely teams whose records show how good they are, and there's definitely teams' records who show nothing about the team, to be honest with you. So let's go with that. Let's go into it. We're going to talk about the AFC first. So let's talk about the North. I think the Ravens are definitely going to take this division. And then I have the Browns, followed by the Bengals and the Steelers. And I've been talking about the Ravens they continue to impress me every week. And here's the thing that is so impressive about the Ravens to me is that if you watch the Fantasy Cast episode this week, it's I touched on it briefly, but the Ravens are the best team in that division, and they're missing about 25% of their starting roster, and probably their most besides Lamar Jackson, I would argue their most important offensive piece in J.K. Dobbins. They're also missing their first-round pick in Rashad Bateman, and they're missing their second-string running back, Gus Edwards, and they are dominating with Latavius Murray, Devontae Freeman, and Le'Veon Bell as their running backs. That is like a combined average age of 29.5 at the running back position. So, what do the Ravens look like with the full roster is my question, because they're dominating with second stringers and old people in a division where if you're watching on YouTube, there's a common theme that all of these first place teams have, except for one, or where I think the first place team, the team that'll finish it first, has, and I think except for one, and that's the AFC West. And this is the same for the NFC as well. Lamar Jackson is the best quarterback in the AFC North. That's not even a debate. It's not a debate. Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the AFC East. Carson Wentz is not playing better than Ryan Tannehill right now, but I think that nobody has had a harder string of 4 games in the NFL than the Indianapolis Colts. And then I have Justin Herbert in the Los Angeles Chargers winning the AFC West. And is he better than Mahomes? I don't know. Mahomes is great. Mahomes definitely is more dynamic, but Justin Herbert has looked legitimately flawless, except for the Dallas game. He has looked flawless this season. So for the Ravens, I don't even think we've scratched the surface of their potential, and they're still winning the division. And when you go to let's talk about the Browns for a second, because we're going to talk through all of these teams. The Browns have the third best quarterback in their division, and they're tied for best record. That's how good this Browns team is, and that's how we're literally seeing the tangible limitations of Baker Mayfield. And let's rewind the clocks to 2 weeks ago when Baker Mayfield was walking around like he was, what's his name? Arnold Schwarzenegger or Ronnie Coleman, when he stiff-armed that guy and was fine after he dislocated his shoulder, and he was like, oh, no problem, it's no problem. I can play, no problem. Then all of a sudden, let's fast forward 2 weeks, Baker Mayfield looks like trash. Ah, man, my labrum. I know it's not my non-throwing arm, but I just don't think I could do it. Without the amount of pain medicine the NFL offers, Phillip Rivers played an AFC Championship game with a torn ACL. You're telling me Baker Mayfield can't play with a partially torn labrum in his non-throwing hand in an offense where you literally hand the ball off to Nick Chubb or Kareem Hunt, or you're hitting a play-action pass that's 3 yards in front of you? Dude, I'm telling you, there are so many quarterbacks. Like, Baker Mayfield will not be on the Browns next season. He will not be on the Browns next season. I promise you that. Oh, also, by the way, I tweeted out my MVP dark horses for 2021 that nobody's talking about yet. Lamar Jackson is one of them. I think Lamar Jackson actually has a very good case to be in the MVP conversation right now with Kyler Murray, being how bad and banged up that Ravens team is, and nobody's talking. Like, we keep saying, like, oh man, like the Ravens are great. They won this game. They beat this team, but nobody's talking about how they're doing it or what they're overcoming to do it. And the whole argument that Lamar Jackson is a bad passer, he's actually grading out as with the average completed air yards, highest in the NFL at 8.7 according to NFL Next Gen Stats, and he's doing it without his first-round draft pick, who was supposed to be their wide receiver one. So let's pump the brakes on this Lamar Jackson can't throw narrative, because that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You want to talk about someone who can't throw the football, look at the Browns. And then let's talk about the Bengals, because I actually really want to talk about the Bengals, because I'm starting to believe the Bengals are a better team than the Browns. Not roster talent, but I would take Joe Burrow in a heartbeat over Baker Mayfield. Both of them are number 1 overall picks, by the way, and let's look at the comparisons. What happens when the ball is in Joe Burrow's hands at the end of a game? Oh, he overcomes a 14-point deficit. What happens when the ball is in Baker Mayfield's hand with a 16-point lead in the second half? Oh, they choke to the Chiefs. That's the difference. Like, Baker Mayfield, if Big Ben was like 2 years younger, I would say Baker Mayfield is the 4th best quarterback in this division, which makes him the worst quarterback in this division. And I don't know what to make about the Bengals yet. They're still kind of like, are you for real? In my opinion, like, are you for real? But I have to give them the respect they've earned. I think they power ranked them at 17 because they are 3-1. They did just have a come from behind victory of 14 points. And I think if you're 14 points behind, you know how like Next Gen Stats does the whatchamacallit, the like win percentage, it'll pop up randomly in the games. I think your win percentage, especially if it's in the second half, is like sub 50%. So it wasn't like, I get it was against the Jaguars. Like, I understand that argument completely, but let's not knock how impressive that is. It still is impressive. Like, I get that. What's his face? Patrick Mahomes does it all the time, but that's like why Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL, because points don't matter. So I think that, like, looking at this, I still think the Browns are just so much, like, roster-wise superior to the Bengals. But the Bengals are really scrappy, man. Like, they are really competitive, and I have all of the faith in the world in Joe Burrow. His knee looks fine, which is fantastic. I know I kind of harped on Joe Burrow a little bit in, like, the preseason and stuff, but I really do love Joe Burrow. I was just worried about his knee and, like, did they take care of him properly? Because I know they kind of rushed him back. Like, he was at practice 100% during training, like, before training camp, so, like, the rookie, like, workouts post, like, the first set of workouts post-draft, like, Joe Burrow was there 100%. So I was kind of worried about him, but he's looked fine. He looks fantastic, and he's unquestionably the leader of this team. Everybody looks to him, and he has confidence. Like, I cannot say Baker Mayfield has real confidence. He has, like, quote, swagger. I don't even think he has swagger, but, like, there's a difference of, like, having the swag of, like, your team being up 21-0 because Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt just combined for 350 yards and 4 touchdowns. Or maybe you threw a touchdown on the 1-yard line to your tight end. But, like, Joe Burrow has swag in the fourth quarter and the confidence in the fourth quarter of, I am going to win this game. Baker Mayfield has a loaded diaper in the fourth quarter. So the Bengals might finish second in this division, and if that happens, if the Browns don't even make the playoff, like, dude, peace out, Baker Mayfield, you're done. Let's go to the East, because we spent enough time on my Baker Mayfield rant. I just kind of wanted to get on that soapbox for a second. Bills, I think, are going to run away with this division. They play the Chiefs today. And, that's what we were going to talk about at the end. My Week 5 predictions. I wanted to do this. I want to start doing this. I'll probably do it on Instagram more than every podcast episode. But I wanted to talk through my Week 5 predictions because there's a bunch of spicy games this week. But let's talk about the Bills. So the Bills, in my opinion, are the best team in the NFL. If you watch power ranking videos, if you check us out on Instagram, I have the Bills power ranked 1. I know that the Cardinals have a better record, but the Bills have a loaded offense with a top 5 quarterback, and they now have the best defense in the NFL. They are. I broke the stats down in the power ranking video. I'll pull them up again. Just give me a second to do that. But the Bills basically lead the defensively in every category, or are top 5 in every category. I have it pulled up, so let me read this to you guys, the winners listening to this podcast. Okay, passing yards against per game, first, 148.75. Rushing yards against per game, 68. They're ranked 4th. Total yards against per game, they're ranked 1st with 216.75. Points against, ranked 1st, 44. Sacks, this was their problem last season. They had no pass rush. Ranked 7th with 11. Takeaways, as in interceptions, ranked 2nd with 7. I think I said a 7 for sacks. I meant 11. And let's talk about their other weakness they had. Rushing yards per game, ranked 5th, 145. So the two weaknesses the Bills had in their running game and their lack of pass rush, or lack of running game and lack of pass rush, both gone. Josh Allen is back to the Josh Allen that finished last year, who was the MVP runner-up, also a dark horse to win MVP. And this division is child's play. The biggest competitors in this division are the New England Patriots, and they're 1-3. So I think the Patriots are definitely the second best team in this division. Excuse me. They really need to address their lack of deep threat, because you could argue that Mac Jones doesn't throw the ball deep, but that's not his fault. I mean, it is, but it's not, because let's look at the teams who do throw the ball deep. Bengals, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. Bills, Stephon Diggs. Titans, A.J. Brown and Julio Jones. Chargers, Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Chiefs, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. Broncos, Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton. Raiders, Henry Ruggs, Darren Waller. This is just the AFC. Who do the Patriots have to throw deep to? Jacoby Myers? Come on, give me a break. We know Mac Jones could throw deep. He did it all throughout his career at Alabama. It's not that Mac Jones cannot throw. I do subscribe that Mac Jones has a very low ceiling. But in no means does that mean he's not going to be a good quarterback. If the play goes wrong and he has to ad-lib, yes, that is where Mac Jones' limitations are. But it's not in any of his throwing capabilities. No, he doesn't have the strongest arm, but can he do it? Absolutely. We saw him do it in college. Let's talk about someone who is limited by their arm. Tua Tagovailoa. He has broken ribs. He didn't impress week 1 where he played against the Patriots. Yes, it's the Patriots, but let's see what he does when he comes back. He's back into the I think he's back not this week, but next week is what he's trending towards. And they went out and got Will Fuller, waste of money. He has played 1 game for the Dolphins, and now he's out for another 3 weeks. Jalen Waddle, great player, great pick. And Devontae Parker. They have weapons on offense. Devontae Parker finished number 2, I think, in contested catches last season. Jalen Waddle, great player. He's averaging 8.5 targets per game with Jacoby Brissett. They have Mike Gesicki, who's a phenomenal tight end. Tua adds no layer to this offense at all. No spark. No nothing. Nothing. Nada. Zilch. No bada bing, no bada boom. So, looking at the quarterback rankings for this division, it's going to sound crazy, but I would go Josh Allen, Mac Jones, Zach Wilson, Tua. I don't think Tua has it. And even though Zach Wilson, I'm definitely not a supporter, but definitely not a subscriber to Zach Wilson will be good. At least for this year. He might pan out. But Zach Wilson, I've talked about it on this channel all year long. Quarterbacks have to have an X factor, right? So let's use Lamar Jackson as a prime example. He may not be the best thrower of the football, whatever. That's wrong, but whatever. But his X factor is he makes up with his legs. Zach Wilson may not be the most accurate or he's pretty careless with the football, but he has a Josh Allen type arm. What does Tua do? He doesn't throw deep. He's conservative, scared. It honestly looks scared to throw the ball. And we haven't seen anything from him yet. Like, maybe it'll be different when he comes back. Like, I think the Patriots are a very tough matchup to judge him against. But I just don't think he has it. I don't think he has it. And you look at the AFC West with Justin Herbert, who was picked one selection after Tua. So they passed on Justin Herbert, like, killing yourself. You guys are killing yourself over that pick. Because you could have had a potential... I mean, in my opinion, he's elite. In my opinion, he's already elite, but people will say he's not there yet. And the Jets are the Jets against the Titans. We saw kind of what they could be a little bit. Like, that's a very bad Titans defense that is banged up. They're missing Caleb Farley and other players. No pass rush. But the Jets D-line looks great. Their O-line did look better that game. And that was Zach Wilson's best game yet. Now, can you do it against someone who's not in the worst division in football, in the AFC South? Because this division, nobody will talk about it because it's not like popular in the media. But the AFC South is the worst division in football. It's not even close. And we'll see with the Jets. Like, I think the Jets are like Joe Douglas. I know a lot of Jets fans that I'm friends with are like very upset with already ready to kill Joe Douglas. I think it's a little premature. I would have liked them to get a more of a bell cow style running back instead of Michael Carter because Ty Johnson ain't it. Like Michael Pirine ain't it. Michael Carter's he will be a great complimentary back when you get your Najee Harris or when you get your Jonathan Taylor. But for right now, it was good value where they got him, I guess. But anyway, let's talk about the AFC South. This division is trash, but I do think the Colts will win the division because they, like I've said, they have had the hardest four-game stretch in the NFL. And I forget who they play this week. They have another tough matchup this week. And they might go to 1-4. But, let's not forget, all the teams that Colts have played, the Titans have to, I'm not even going to care. I don't care about the other two teams. The Titans have to play. And I don't think, with how Ryan Tannehill has played all season long, I don't think they've stacked up any better than the Colts do. Colts have a better defense. They have a worse offense, but they have a better O-line. They have a better running game. Oh, well, they do not have a better running game. Scratch that. But they have a better O-line. And I think Carson Wentz will be playing just as good as Ryan Tannehill when the stats balance. Because right now, I think Carson Wentz's stats are beyond deflated because of the competition he had to play. And Ryan Tannehill has played the Jets and a bunch of lollipop teams. And they're only 2-2. So let's pump the brake on the Titans that I've been saying all year long. This Titans defense is still very much so trash. It's not good at all. Let's start with the AFC. So to go in order, Colts, Titans, Texans, Jaguars. I just think that when Tyrod Taylor comes back, having a veteran quarterback is going to win you more games than having Urban Meyer and a rookie who has to overcome the entire universe. Then let's talk about the AFC West. I have the Chiefs winning that division. They're only a game ahead against not the Chiefs. The Chargers winning that division. And then I think that they're only a game ahead of the Chiefs. However, we're going to talk about this in the next segment. So I don't want to go too in-depth in the Chiefs because they're going to have their moment to be in the spotlight. But the Chiefs I don't know why they didn't try to trade for Stephon Gilmore because I know he's not what he used to be in his Pro Bowl form, but he's better than any corner they have on that roster right now. They need to adjust on defense. They absolutely 100% need to adjust on defense. And then we're kind of seeing the two teams with the best record or tied with the best record in the Broncos and the Raiders. I've never believed in the Raiders if you follow this channel. We're starting to see John Gruden just cannot coach. As I predicted, John Gruden thinks he's so much sweeter than he actually is, and they're going to lose games because of it. I understand the concept of okay, going into this game, what do the Chargers do poorly? Stop the run. So what are we going to do? Run the ball. Great, John Gruden. Good idea. Why did you never run one play action pass in the first half? You have Henry Ruggs, who's literally like the fastest receiver in the NFL. You didn't run one play action pass to him. Come on, dude. Like that is on you. And like you kept the game competitive. If you maybe scored points in the first quarter, you win that game possibly, or at least you make it look closer than you are, and you don't look as dumb as you look. But the Broncos, I don't fault them too much for the loss. I think the Ravens right now are probably the third best team in the AFC, behind the Bills and the Chargers. And then I think that when you lose Teddy Bridgewater and your game plan is tailor-made for Teddy Bridgewater and you put someone like Drew Lock in, you're playing to actually his weaknesses because that offense is efficient and Drew Lock is the opposite of efficiency. You need to just gamble and throw the ball down the field 100 yards to KJ Hamler. I know he's hurt, but still. So I have this division shaken up to be Chargers, Chiefs, Broncos, Raiders. And then I don't think I said it for the AFC North and East, but I had Ravens, Browns, Bengals, Steelers, and then Bills, Patriots, Dolphins, Jets. And like if you want to see all these graphics, they're all on YouTube, so go check us out. Check out our YouTube channel. But let's talk about the NFC now. So we're gonna start with the North, like we always do, and let's talk about the Packers. So I still do think the Packers are the biggest phonies in the NFL. Them or the Washington football team, biggest phonies in the NFL, and Aaron Rodgers is still very much so Aaron Rodgers, so he will always keep this team the alpha team in the division. However, I would argue that the Vikings are the more well-balanced team than the Packers. And here's why. The Packers' defensive stats are insanely inflated. And they're still not great. They've played the Lions, they've played the Saints, they've played San Francisco, which is a very impressive game, but that was all Aaron Rodgers. And then they played the Steelers, okay? Saints, 31st passing offense in the NFL. Lions, poop passing offense in the NFL. San Francisco 49ers, poop passing offense in the NFL. And the Steelers, Big Ben is literally a carcass. So they're now playing a team who's very good at throwing the football in the Bengals. This might be, I always pick my upsets for the week, and I've been pretty accurate. I think I missed one 2 weeks ago, and then I missed one. I keep trusting the Lions. Stupid, Mike. Very dumb. But I think that this game, Packers will probably win it, but I expect the Bengals to run up the score on them. Their report today, if you want to go breaking news, if Mixon is out, they'll be operating as a committee backfield, so we're going to see a lot of Chris Evans. We're going to see Samaje Perine, and all those guys. But Bengals pass rush isn't bad. B.J. Hill has 3 sacks through 4 weeks, and their O-line has been impressive in the pass blocking game. It's been trash in the run blocking game, but in pass protection, they're not bad. So the Packers are still missing Zadarius White. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Or Zadarius Smith, and they don't really have a pass rush either. So their defense, again, a mediocre pass rush at best, and a below average secondary, besides Jair Alexander and their safety, whose name I always forget. This team's about to get carved up, and obviously, I think Aaron Rodgers will perform some Aaron Rodgers magic in the second half, but the Bengals are hot right now, and the Packers are fake hot right now. So I think that I'm not going to really talk about the rest of the division because Justin Fields has been named the starter. That's a story from this week. So he will start the rest of the season, which I think is very good for the Bears, but I think it's good for the Bears for 2022 because now you're setting him ahead of what he would be if you rode Andy Dalton out and then you give Justin Fields his first reps next season. Now he's going to make the mistakes. Now he's going to learn how the league operates, and you could build around him. You could get Allen Robinson will probably leave, but you could patch up the O-line and get a piece for your defense. Probably better. The thing with the Bears that make no sense is they never are paying their quarterbacks, but they still have the worst cap situation in the NFL, pretty consistently. And then the Lions are just annoying. They are a competitive team, but they play to whatever team they're playing skill level. They just got bodied by the Bears. But the Vikings, I think, if they didn't start 1-3, could potentially win this division. But as long as that probably, like, the Vikings will definitely win this division next year, and it'll probably be Vikings. We won't talk about that. Let's talk about the NFC East. So this is definitely the Cowboys division to lose. And I think their defense is top 10. When I look at the numbers, it would say otherwise, but like, let's talk about I think they're slightly inflated, but while also being slightly deflated. So I think their run stopping efficiency is significantly inflated because of one game against the Philadelphia Eagles where they had 3 rushing attempts. That is drastically going to skew the numbers. I should have done the math to see what their run blocking rate would be without that game. But even still, not run blocking as in like their O-line, I mean run stopping rate. And they played the Buccaneers week 1, who suck at running the ball. And they threw the ball 50 times that game. So those 2 games, you're not seeing much of a run-heavy offense. And then they played who did they just play this past week? They played the Chargers in a very good defensive game. Not either side got much going. I think if those 2 teams played this week, it'd be a much higher scoring game. And then they played, who did they just play this past week? Think, Mike. Oh, the Panthers. And Panthers are running with a rookie running back in Chuba Hubbard and not Christian McCaffrey. So what does that game look like with Christian McCaffrey? Now, they play the Giants this week, and I think it's going to be, we're going to talk about that later in the episode too. I think that's going to be a very interesting game because the Saints have a top 5 run-stopping defense, and they were allowing, I think, 2-point-some yards per carry. And Saquon averaged 2-point-some yards per carry. So he is playing to the skill level, right? He's taking what the Saints were giving. In their skewed defense, the Cowboys are averaging 4.7 yards per carry allowed. They haven't played against a running back like Saquon Barkley yet. And yes, Saquon Barkley has not gotten it going yet, but he was very effective in the passing game, and he was very effective for what the Saints were allowing in the Saints game. So if the Giants, who now are kind of getting their swag back with Daniel Jones after that win, if they, we're going to talk about it. I don't want to talk too much about this matchup, but the reason why I'm talking about this matchup right now is because it's between these 2 teams for the division. And I know the records say otherwise. Like, Washington football team is 2-2, and Taylor Heinicke is a franchise quarterback. Stop it. Jalen Hurts and the Eagles are bad. They are a bad team. They play well against bad defenses. Okay? Taylor Heinicke's mistakes haven't caught up to him yet. We saw him get exposed against the Bills. He should have thrown 3 picks in the 4th quarter against Atlanta, and I am counting picks. I'm counting plays where the ball touched defenders' hands. It was at least 2. It might have been 3. At least 2. So he's averaging, if we include both games, he's averaging 3 picks per game. He should have thrown a game-icing interception against the Giants week 2. And now he's going to play the Saints, who are coming off a loss at home to the New York Giants. Taylor Heinicke's going to throw for 2 picks this game. Taylor Heinicke is not a good quarterback. He's a cool story, and everybody wants to be like, oh, Taylor Heinicke, the XFL quarterback who's coming off the bench is going to be really, really good in the NFL. He's going to replace Ryan Fitzpatrick. Stop it. He's a one-read quarterback. If Terry McLaurin's not open, he's screwed. Logan Thomas is out, his other favorite target. He's not playing, screwed. And then Antonio Gibson is hurt, who he's practicing today, but you're telling me he is against Marshawn Lattimore. Taylor Heinicke's going to throw for 300 yards. And that pass rush. Stop it. This division is between the New York Giants and the Dallas Cowboys, and it is the Dallas Cowboys division to lose. The New York Giants, by far, are the 2nd most talented team on both sides of the ball. The Eagles are hurt. They have no wide receivers. They lost their best pass rusher. I forget his name. And the newsflash, Washington's defense is trash. They are trash. They're supposed to be we are really good at getting to the quarterback. Chase Young is sick. he's the next Aaron Donald. Stop it. Micah Parsons is playing better than Aaron Donald, than Chase Young right now. And he's a linebacker. Washington football is ranked 25th in QB pressure rates. Not sacks or hits, pressure rates. That is atrocious for how many first-round picks they have on that D-line. Atrocious. Stop it with Washington football team. They are they are the worst team in the worst division in football besides the AFC South. Stop it. Let's talk about the NFC South. This is a very competitive division if you take out the Falcons. The Buccaneers will win this division. And the Buccaneers are a team that is playing defensively horrible right now. Their secondary is ranked 32nd in the NFL, but they're missing their best cornerback who broke his arm against Dallas week 1, who will be back. And then they are they're a team where they can heat up later. The later they heat up, the better. Or they have more time to heat up because the offense is clicking, but the defense needs to catch up. And it will catch up. I have no concern about the Buccaneers because you have Tom Brady running practice. That'll be fine. Let's talk about the Panthers. What did the Panthers tell us by trading for Stephon Gilmore yesterday? They are ready to win now, and they believe they are ready to win now. And what does this do to J.C. Horn, who was their first-round pick, 8th overall this year? I think 8th overall. Yeah, 8th overall. They just got one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL to develop him. When J.C. Horn is back and plays a season with Stephon Gilmore, J.C. Horn will be the next Jalen Ramsey in a few years. He will be the best corner. J.C. Horn already was playing as a shutdown cornerback 1 as a rookie, and now you're going to ask him, oh my gosh, you're going to give him like Jameis Winston went to Drew Brees Academy. He's going to go to Stephon Gilmore Academy, who's a better talent than Jameis Winston was. I know Jameis Winston's a quarterback, but I'm just using it as an analogy. This kid is going to be like the next prime Richard Sherman. He will be a top 5 cornerback in the next 3 years. Maybe if it takes that long. It might be 2 years. He broke his foot this year, so he's probably not going to be back to playoffs. I heard someone say they signed Stephon Gilmore because they don't think Horn is going to be back this season, but I don't agree with that. I think he's going to be back, and I think this was more of like similar to what the Cardinals did with J.J. Watt to be their locker room guy defensively. They got Stephon Gilmore specifically to groom J.C. Horn, they are very similar players. I said this in the preseason. This Panthers defense will be top 5 in the next few years, and they are top 10 already. They will be top 5 next year. This Panthers defense is very young and very talented. Do not sleep on the Panthers. And they got the quarterback in Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold, people say like, oh, Sam's playing well. Like, he's playing good because of the pieces around him. That doesn't matter. You just need him to play well and come up in big spots. And he's played well. And what does that game look like if they have Christian McCaffrey? Because it is a big difference when your best offensive piece is missing. Like, come on. And then the Saints are so weird. I still have no idea what to make of them because they definitely were the better team than the Giants. I don't think they had the better quarterback in that game, and I didn't think that going in. But because it's Jameis Winston. But I just don't think the Saints have it. They're taking the ball out of their best player's hands in Alvin Kamara, and it doesn't make sense. And then the Falcons are trash. And then the NFC West, very interesting because I still have the Rams winning the division. Cardinals at number 2, and then I really think it's a toss-up between 3rd or 4th for the Seahawks and the Niners. But here's why I have the Rams winning the division. Who's a better coach? Cliff Kingsbury or Sean McVay? Who's been to a Super Bowl? Cliff Kingsbury or Sean McVay? Who's won a playoff game? Cliff Kingsbury or Sean McVay? Like I have been saying all season long, all preseason long, this Cardinals team is one of the most talented rosters in the NFL, and it drives me nuts because any other coach, I'm not going to say any other coach, but you give them a top 5, if you give them Sean McVay, this team, and the Cardinals, I think, have a better roster than the Rams. You have DeAndre Hopkins, AJ Green. They desperately need a running back, but they have Kyler Murray, who's playing the best football in his career. Defensively, You have Isaiah Simmons, who's coming into his own, and a bunch of other pieces. And Budda Baker. And J.J. Watt, who's old, but he's a great locker room guy to groom these young kids. We are seeing how talented this roster is, and why I have them at second is because Cliff Kingsbury unquestionably will lose them games, and Sean McVay unquestionably will win the Rams games. And even though Kyler Murray is playing better than Matthew Stafford, Kyler Murray is playing the best football of his career. Can he sustain that for 17 games? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Josh Allen got better throughout the season, but he had his lows. Kyler Murray is going to have his lows, and it depends on who those games are against, if they're going to lose games or not. Plus, everybody laughs at the 1-3 Vikings, but they were a missed field goal away from beating this Cardinals team, and that's because of Cliff Kingsbury. So the Rams are winning this division. They will win this division. The Cardinals will be in second, and it'll probably be a game or 2 or 3 split. Probably 2 or 3 games away, I think, because I know the Rams are going to lose to bad teams somehow. People say the Vikings are a bad team, and the Rams should be 3-1 at the least. But that is my divisional deep dive. Let me know who you think I have too high or too wrong, or if you think I'm wrong about in the comments if you're watching on YouTube. If you think I'm right or wrong, tweet me at Pylon_the. And let's talk about the most telling games of the week. We're not going to spend too much time on this because we spent a lot talking about the divisions. But the most telling game of the week for me, the first one is the Jaguars Bengals. So this game was super interesting to me because this game made Urban Meyer die, explode. And I don't know why. Because watching this game, this was the best game that Urban Meyer has coached since being the head coach of the Jaguars. And for him to go out and do what he did post game in that weekend in Ohio, this dude is a nut job, and he will not be the coach of the Jaguars next season. I think they'll ride him out, but he will not be the coach of the Jaguars next season. But this team has promise. There's one coach who I think okay. So here, this is my bold prediction for the Jaguars next season. If a coach were to get fired, probably the most successful coach of most of our lives, the people listening to this, if said coach was to perhaps want to move off of his organization and say, yep, I'm tired of this. Let me relocate. Let me go to where I already have a house. Let me go to where the weather's super nice. Let me go to where I have a generational quarterback prospect. Let me go to where I have a bunch of offensive weapons. Let me go to where I could build a defense. What if Bill Belichick left the Patriots and went to take Urban Meyer's job in Jacksonville? I know it sounds crazy right now as of October 7th, 2021, but why not? Why not go to a place where you just got to build a defense? You're pretty bad at building offenses, I'm not going to lie, and I'm just basing that off of your track record in the draft. But now you have an already built offense with a raw defense that you could build with a player like Josh Allen that is your cornerstone. Why not? Why not go there? Anyway, that's enough of my theory. Let's talk about the actual game. This game, I want to talk about the Bengals. There's not really much to say about the Jaguars. I was just thinking about that, and I'm curious to hear what you guys think about that, if you think it's possible or not. Because there were talks that Bill Belichick was thinking about leaving when Tom Brady left. He entertained a few coaching conversations, but he ended up deciding to stay. Let's talk about the Bengals. There are not many quarterbacks in the NFL that could come back being down 14, and I mean 14 to nothing. In a quarter or in a half where your offense was virtually invisible, if that's the right word. You go into the locker room and you say, okay, shout out to Zach Taylor because this was a great game, great coach game by him. being able to adjust. You go in and it's like, oh, what do we got? What's going on, guys? And Joe Burrow's in there, and he's like, we're going to win this game. It's not a matter of how are we going to win this game. We are going to win this game. They put the ball in my hands, and that's a mistake. It's a direct quote from Joe Burrow in the fourth quarter. Instead of continuing to run the ball with no success, the Bengals come out, operate the play-action offense, and torch the Jaguars. Coming out to a 24 to 7 point differential. That is leadership. That is coaching. That is being able to rally your teammates. That is being able to keep your teammates in a game that you are getting dominated by a rookie quarterback and a rookie head coach. This Bengals team, I understand it was against the Jaguars, but they've also been able to beat veteran quarterbacks and veteran coaches in Mike Tomlin. They've been able to beat veteran coaches and veteran quarterbacks in the Vikings. And I forget the other team they played. This Bengals team may not be legit, but they are for sure scrappy, and they will for sure compete in every game, to say the least. They have yet to be blown out this season. Yet to be blown out. Who did they lose to? All right, I gotta look it up because it's gonna drive me nuts. 1 moment, please. Bengals schedule. They lost to... Oh, the Bears. That's right. And that was kind of a fluke loss because Joe Burrow last season only threw 3 picks. He threw 3 picks in that game on 3 plays. Come on. If he throws 2 picks instead of 3, they actually win that game. Crazy as that is, because they almost came back down like 13 or something after throwing the 3 picks. It wasn't that they crept into they only needed 2 possessions. They needed 1 more possession to win that game. If he doesn't throw a pick, they win that game. So they're 4-0. I really, the more I think about it, I think the Bengals are a very good team that, again, to upset this week, because I think nobody sold on them, and they are a very hot underdog team right now, and they are kind of embodying that everybody is counting us out. And the Packers have so much just extra drama with the whole now, because for whatever reason, Aaron Rodgers refuses to let himself not be in a headline. That there's a whole Mike Tomlin fiasco of oh, is Aaron Rodgers going to go play for the Steelers next season? Dude, come on. You can't finish your last dance. You're already generating conversations of what's going to happen to you next season. Shut up, Aaron Rodgers. God, he drives me nuts, man. He drives me crazy. But that's enough about this game, because I know it's kind of two, whatever teams. But let's talk. There's not much I want to say, but there's one very key point I want to pluck out and, make you think about this game. So I'm talking about the Chiefs versus the Eagles. Who have the Eagles dropped 30 on this season? Who have they dropped a nice little 30-piece chicken nugget on this season? Who's one of the worst teams in the NFL? The Atlanta Falcons. Who has one of the worst defenses in the NFL? The Atlanta Falcons. Who did the Eagles just drop another 30-piece chicken nugget on? The Kansas City Chiefs. So what does that tell you using deductive reasoning and logic? The Chiefs' defense is as bad as the Atlanta Falcons. Granted, the Eagles had a very good game offensively, but that is how bad this Kansas City team is on defense. They need to do something. They need to adjust. And I think they're playing with the third most rookies on defense, as in starting. So they'll get better as the season goes on. But you guys gotta, you can't let a team, and this is no knock on the Eagles. I'm just talking about them for what they are. They are not a good offense. They got pooped on by the Cowboys. They had 3 rushing attempts against the Cowboys. That is unacceptable in the NFL. You have to run the ball. Even if it's not successful, you have to run it because it opens up play action. And play action in a league of explosive plays is vital. When the Chiefs play the Bills this week, we're going to talk about this in my bold predictions for... I don't think they're actually bold. I think just my predictions for week 5. Some of them are bold. So the money line for Chiefs-Bills is plus 130 for the Bills. That, to me, might be the biggest lock of the week, because if you have a crappy defense that the Eagles could drop 30 on you, and you have a good defense in the Miami Dolphins, and the Bills just dropped 35 on them, and 40 on the Texans, who probably actually have a better defense than the Chiefs do, what are the Bills going to do to you? And yeah, it'll be close because you have a fantastic offense. I'm not knocking that. But there's no way your defense keeps pace with the Bills, and the Bills have the best defense in football. This is the freest bet of the week, by the way. And it might make the Chiefs fall to 2-3. I think it will make the Chiefs fall to 2-3. In which they will stay at the bottom of the division for another week. The hole for the Chiefs keeps getting deeper, and it will continue to get deeper so long as they do not adjust on defense, because you can't have crappy teams like the Atlanta Falcons drop 30 on you. Granted, their offense is a little bit better than I'm probably giving them credit for, but still the point remains they're not an elite offense. They're not really even an average offense, and they drop 30 on you. You're not going to be able to just shoot out with a team like the Bills because they have a defense. Anyway, that's going to do it for the two takeaways from the week. Let me tweet me on Twitter or drop a comment on whatever on YouTube if you disagree with this. I think that the Chiefs are in a very, 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 very bad spot. I think they're in a very dangerous spot, and they need to adjust if they want to make the Super Bowl, because that's their expectations to make the Super Bowl. But I stole this title from Good Morning Football, but I'm calling my shots. Calling my shots for the week. I'm gonna do my best John Wick impression, and hopefully I go lights out on these picks. But I'm calling my shots. Like I'm playing pool, like I'm shooting a basketball. I'm calling my shots. We're gonna go through each game. I have a take for each game, so could be wrong here. I'm hoping I go 16 for 16, but let's see it. So, Rams at Seattle. Darrell Henderson rushes for over 100 yards against Seattle, and the Rams win by at least 7 points. I think Seattle is very bad, and Sean McVay is probably the best coach. Well, whoa. I think Seattle is very bad compared to the Rams, and I think Sean McVay is the best coach in the league coming off a loss. So, I think in a game where you have an explosive offense in the Rams passing game, and you have a horrible deep run-stopping defense, no reason this team doesn't run all over you. No reason. Chris Carson might not play this week, which is huge for Seattle. Huge loss this week. So if you're a fantasy owner, start Alex Collins. And I think that Jalen Ramsey literally owns DK Metcalf every time they play. This is an easy lock for if you want to bet the alternate. I would take him 5.5. For certain. Jets versus Falcons. This game is in London, so it's a neutral field. I think Calvin Ridley and Kyle Pitts finally explode. Both of them have over 70 receiving yards, which is like, it's not really an explosion, but if you've watched the Falcons, if you follow the Falcons stat lines, it is an explosion, and they each have a touchdown. I actually don't know who's going to win this game, because the Falcons' defense is definitely on par with as bad as the Titans is. If Caleb Farley comes back, it might be different, but no. Oh, yeah. If Caleb Farley comes back for the Titans, they probably have a better defense than the Falcons. I was getting confused for a second. But I think that this will be a close game. I probably wouldn't bet the spread. I would just take money line because you don't know which Zach Wilson you're getting. Now this is the thing with franchise quarterbacks and quarterbacks in particular. Every week you play well, there's a new expectation for you, right? So Zach Wilson played well in the preseason against the Packers, set the expectation, throws 8 picks through 2 weeks, lowers the expectation. or isn't meeting the expectation and people are getting grumpy and angry. Then you go out and ball against the Titans, your expectations back up. When you're playing a team like the Falcons, you are expected to meet the expectation. I think he will against the Falcons, but I think that the Falcons probably have more firepower on offense, and that was the best all-around game the Jets' offense has played, and I'm including the offensive line, because they have been bad. They've been really bad. Zach Wilson is getting clobbered back there. So I think that the Pitts and the Ridleys have a touchdown and 70 receiving yards apiece. Lions at Vikings. I think the Vikings beat the Lions by at least 14 points, and Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, and Dalvin Cook all have over 100 yards. This Vikings offense is top 10. In every metric, they're top 10. Some of them, they're top 5. This Lions defense is missing every player that they had that was good. There's no reason the Vikings do not dunk on the Lions. And I mean yam on the Lions. Saints at Washington. I think the Saints bounce back in a dominant win, picking off Heineke at least twice, and they probably win by 10. I'll say I didn't have a number written down, but I'll say 10 because I just know Taylor Heineke's mistakes are going to catch up with him. Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to come back in at some point for Washington, and I mean if Taylor Heineke does not get hurt, Ryan Fitzpatrick will play because you have money involved. You have this kid, you're not paying anything. He's a cool story, but once he starts to screw up, you're going to put the guy you paid to play for you in. Patriots at Texans. Patriots dominate Davis Mills, and the Texans hold them to under 150 passing yards. This is a generous 150 passing yards. I wanted to put 100, but I was like, let's try to be as right as we can on as many as we can. So I went with the comfortable number of 150. I just don't see a rookie quarterback against the rookie quarterback monster in Bill Belichick, and that offense against that defense. I don't even see 100 yards. I'll say this. I'll change it. I don't think the Texans have 150 total yards, and they definitely don't have 100 passing yards. So less than 100 passing yards, and less than 150 yards of total offense. Let's go to Miami Buccaneers. Jalen Waddle has a dominant 100-plus yard performance and 2 touchdowns against the Buccaneers. They still lose. But in a secondary as bad as the Bucs have been, they're not going to run Myles Gaskins is trash. Malcolm Brown is trash. And they're going to be behind almost the entire game. So they're going to have to throw. And Jalen Waddle is, despite their record and the points scored, Jalen Waddle has been a bucket lately. He's seeing 6 catches per game. I'm thinking off the top of my head, but 6 catches per game. And he's been close. He's been flirting with 100 yards every week. So I think in a secondary where he's going to be able to run wild, yeah. Let me get Jalen Waddle this week. I think he's going to have 2 touchdowns. I think he's going to break out this week. Packers at Bengals. Joe Burrow throws for 3 touchdowns. And Jamar Chase and T. Higgins have over 100-yard performances and a big upset win over the Green Bay Crappers. I actually really like the Packers. I just hate their front office and cannot stand any more of Aaron Rodgers. So I'm just gonna keep crap talking them until they just get out of their own way. Anyway, they were a team that needed to go get Stephon Gilmore. You have Kevin King as your cornerback too. And every time I open up Instagram and go to NFL memes, there is some every week after the Packers game, there is some meme or video about Kevin King. Why you didn't go get Stephon Gilmore? So dumb. I mean, he's a penny. A 6th round 2023 pick is literally a potato. So I think the Bengals win this week. Broncos at Steelers. The Broncos bounce back and beat the Steelers by 10-plus points to keep the Steelers to under, it says 300 total yards of total offense. I'm going to lower that to 250. I think they keep the Steelers under 250 yards of total offense. I think that Teddy Bridgewater will play this week, and I think that the way that the Broncos offense operates with how much they just chew the clock and how good they match up against the Steelers, I don't want none of the Steelers this week. I think that even Najee Harris probably going to eat in fantasy because he's going to have a billion targets. But, yeah, under 250 yards of total offense for the big bad Steelers. And then Eagles at Panthers. Jalen Hurts. And this is going to sound weird because you're like, oh, Jalen Hurts throws for 320 yards a week. Okay, stop looking at your fantasy lineup and let's watch an Eagles game for once. Jalen Hurts collects probably the second most garbage time yardage in the NFL, and he's throwing, on average, a completed air yards of 4.7 yards per week. Or on the season, he's averaging 4.7 yards. And he's flirting with about a 61% completion percentage against this Panthers defense that now has Stephon. Oh, and Stephon Gilmore's not playing this week. But still, point remains. He's going to throw 2 picks, and they're going to lose this game. He'll probably throw like 300 yards again, but they are literally all like little dumps. And Dallas Goedert and little dumps. And Dallas Goedert and Kenneth Gainwell and all the gang of Quez Watkins and Jalen Reagor and Devontae Smith are going to eat up in that garbage time. They're also going to be playing from behind, so he's going to have to throw way more. And they have no running game. So ball's going to be flying a lot against a very good secondary, against a very good pass rush. I think the Eagles are missing their starting left guard. Yeah, I'm out on the Eagles this week. I think the Eagles are definitely better than Washington, but they gonna get mollywopped this week against the Panthers. Talk about the next game. There were next few games. Titans at Jaguars. So I don't know if you follow the NFL for the past 2 years, but Derrick Henry has a biannual slaughter against the Jaguars where he rushes for at least 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. Yeah, that's going to happen again this week. Especially with Julio and A.J. Brown being out. Although both are trending to play this week. So even if they run the ball, Derrick Henry at least has an 80-yard run every game against the Texans and the Jaguars. So Jaguars are in for a beating. Derrick Henry going to do his thing. 150 yards, 2 touchdowns for the cyborg on the game. Browns at Chargers. A little bit more Baker Mayfield talk. It's my favorite thing to talk. I'm just kidding. I don't like Baker Mayfield. He's the most overrated quarterback in the NFL, and it's not even close. I think the Chargers gashed the Browns for at least 21 points on that defense, and Baker Mayfield continues to hold his team back as the defense, Nick Chubb, and Kareem Hunt keep this game competitive. It'll be a close game. It will be. This Browns defense is crazy. But you know who's not crazy? Baker Mayfield. You know what you have to do against a team that's going to put up points like the Los Angeles Chargers? Throw the ball. You know who can't throw the ball? Baker Mayfield. You know who can't throw the ball in the fourth quarter? Baker Mayfield. So, unless Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt have a day, which they probably will because the Chargers' run defense is trash, Baker Mayfield's going to lose them this game. Baker Mayfield loses this game, and now, my labrum, I'm just going to sit this one out. Yeah, you're going to sit this one out because you'll get exposed for the 3rd straight week. Yeah, trash. Missed me with that. Bears at Raiders. Justin Fields has a rough outing as the Raiders pass rush decimate this lofty Bears O-line, sacking Fields 4+ times. The Raiders have a very good pass rush. The Bears have a very bad O-line, very bad at pass protection. They're missing their star running back, David Montgomery. Ball's going to be in Fields' hands a ton. He's going to have to throw. He's going to have to stand there. He's going to get hit. Raiders' defense is no joke. Their pass rush is no joke. John Gruden is a joke. Anyway, 49ers at Cardinals. Trey Lance is starting this week, which I'm super excited about, but he's got a horrible game. Probably a good fantasy game, but horrible game. In his first start as a professional football thrower, Trey Lance has a sub 60% completion percentage and throws 2 interceptions in a decimating loss to the Cardinals. I think they're going to lose by at least 10. I just think this Cardinals defense is actually looking good. This is a game, though, where, if anybody would upset the Cardinals, it's going to be the Niners because Kyle Shanahan is now playing with the guy he wanted. He traded 3 first-round picks for. So we may see undocumented elements of this Niners offense. I would not bet them to win, but I would bet them to cover a fat spread of 10.5. But I also think they lose by 10 points in a realistic world. But anything can happen in sports, so whatever. Let's talk about the next game. The Giants at the Dallas Cowboys in an absolute slugfest through the air, combining for at least 55 total points. Daniel Jones and Dak Prescott both throw for over 325 plus yards. Both Zeke and Saquon have 100 plus yards. I think this is going to be a very close, like a much closer game than the spread is like Vegas is going to have out there, or how Cynthia Freeland and her gang of idiots have this game, because they're probably all going to pick the Cowboys again. I'm telling you, this is going to be a closer game. I'm expecting the Cowboys to win, so let me put that out there, because I'm definitely a supporter of the Giants, as this podcast and this YouTube channel would show. But I definitely think this is the Cowboys' game to lose, like it is their division to lose. And if they lose this game, it's going to be very bad, because the Giants, again, like they are the second most talented team in this division. If you give them wiggle room to catch up, they might. Which is, their schedule is like, I think, the 7th hardest for the rest of the season, if you include last week, which they won that game. So I think that the Cowboys have to beat them. They have to beat them in order to stay the favorites, because if you give this Giants team wiggle room, it might get ugly. And I still don't have confidence in Jason Garrett or even Joe Judge, really. But Daniel Jones is definitely the second best quarterback in the division as of week 5. And Saquon is starting to look better and better each week. And Kenny Golladay had his first 100-yard game in his first game where he actually was a viable pass catcher. Kadarius Toney had 7 catches for like 80 yards. So definitely the Cowboys definitely have the stronger offense, and I think the stronger defense. But I think it's going to be plus it's a divisional game, which always go haywire. So I think this game is going to be close. I would bet the Giants to cover the spread. In their past 26 games, the Giants have covered the spread 20 out of 26 times. So take that little nugget of information and do what you want with it. Bills at Chiefs in a dominant fashion. The Bills dismantled the Chiefs, winning by 14 points. Here's the thing, and why I'm so high on the Bills this week. Why did the Chiefs lose in the Super Bowl? I'll wait. You got your answer? Because it's probably wrong. I'm just kidding. If you're listening to this podcast, you're smart, and you're probably right. Because they could not protect Patrick Mahomes. The Bills have the best pass rush in football and the best defense in football. We just, like I talked about, the Eagles just dropped 30 on them. The Bills and Josh Allen are going to drop another 30 on them. Now, the Chiefs will probably keep pace, but I think it's going to be way harder for them to keep pace. The Bills are going to be scoring at will in this game. The Chiefs are going to have to play flawlessly to keep up. Trust me. Bet the Bills money line this week. They're the underdog by plus 130, and it's probably going to change as it gets closer to Sunday. So I'd put your parlay in now. Colts at Ravens. I think the Ravens continue to stay hot with Lamar throwing for 3 touchdowns with a dominant performance from rookie wide receiver Rashad Bateman of at least 75 receiving yards and a touchdown. I think Rashad Bateman, if he makes his debut this week, is going to ball out this week, because everybody's going to be like, we got to cover Marquise Brown. Oh, crap, that's their first-round pick running wild on our defense. Yeah, I think that kid's going to have a day. I think the Ravens are going to have a day. I think Lamar is going to continue to prove the haters wrong that say, oh, well, I'm smarter than I am, and Bleacher Report, Good Morning Football, and RotoWire.com told me that Lamar Jackson can't throw the ball. Yeah, that's like not even true anyway, so book it. Lamar for 3 throwing touchdowns, Bateman with a catching touchdown, and 75 yards on the day. Those are my bold takes and realistic takes. Some of them were bold. For week 5. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Keep an eye out for start, sit, stock, sell this week. That'll come out later today. Yes, sir. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe for the channel. It really helps out a lot. Really helps Mikey Boy out a lot. Check out our social media listed above on Instagram at @the_Pylon_Cam, at Twitter at Pylon_the. Check out our, if you enjoy the podcast and you're stumbling upon it, and you also have Spotify. Check us out on Spotify. Drop us a follow, the Pylon Cam Podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube, which you might be, Please like, comment, subscribe. Tell all your friends. Tell them, wow, I saw this kid on Instagram, YouTube, and he has like 3 views, but he has the smartest takes I've ever heard in my entire life. Check him out. Yeah, that would be sick. You'll be a winner. He'll be a winner. We'll all be winners, and we'll all wear Crocs. That's going to do it for me. Catch you in the next episode. Peace!